Think back to a Saturday morning in 1974. You wake up, come downstairs, and your mom is already in the laundry room. There's a machine in the corner that looks like it belongs in a factory. It's growling. It's got two rubber rollers spinning at the top, and she's feeding wet clothes through them with her bare hands, inches from getting her fingers crushed. You watched it happen every single week and thought absolutely nothing of it. That machine was in nearly every American home, and it was just one of the gadgets your family used daily that would make people today genuinely question your parents' sanity before OSHA got involved, before product liability lawsuits became a national sport, before anyone asked, but is this actually safe? American homes were filled with devices that were bold, bizarre, and occasionally genuinely dangerous. Today we're going through 10 gadgets that sat in your parents' house like they were completely normal, because back then they were. Here are 10 gadgets every American home had in the 1970s, and why every single one of them vanished. Item 1. The wringer washing machine. Before we talk about what replaced it, let's talk about what this thing actually was. The wringer washer was a large tub on wheels with two hard rubber rollers mounted on top. You washed your clothes in the tub, then you fed each piece by hand through the rollers to squeeze the water out, one item at a time, by hand, standing over a machine with moving parts that had absolutely no safety shutoff. Hospitals in the 1960s and 70s had a name for the injuries these things caused. They called it wringer arm. You'd get a sleeve caught, then a cuff, then a wrist, and the machine just kept pulling. Emergency rooms saw it constantly, and yet, and this is the part that gets people, these machines were still being sold new in America well into the 1970s, not as antiques, as appliances. Sears had them in the catalog. What killed them wasn't a government ban, it was the automatic washing machine getting cheap enough for working-class families to afford. The moment a Kenmore top loader hit $200, the wringer went to the curb, almost overnight. Your grandmother probably cried a little. She'd used hers for 25 years and trusted it completely. Item 2. The built-in kitchen intercom. If you grew up in a house built between 1965 and 1978, there's a good chance there was a beige plastic panel mounted on your kitchen wall with a speaker grill and a row of buttons on it. One button for the living room, one for the master bedroom, one for the kids' rooms upstairs. This was the home intercom system. And for about 15 years, it was the single most exciting feature a new home could have. Developers put them in tract homes across America as a luxury selling point. The idea was simple: no more shouting up the stairs. Mom presses a button, speaks into the panel, and her voice comes out of a speaker in your bedroom. Dinner's ready, come down now. Some of the fancier systems also played AM radio through every speaker in the house simultaneously. You could have the same station playing in the kitchen, the garage, and both bathrooms at the same time. It felt genuinely futuristic. Then the 1980s happened. Cordless phones arrived, then cell phones, and suddenly the idea of being hardwired into your own walls felt less like luxury and more like a fire hazard waiting to happen. Nobody ripped them out. They just stopped using them. If you go into older homes today, the ones that haven't been fully renovated, you'll still find the panels on the walls, painted over, silent, still technically wired into the house. The intercom didn't disappear, it's still there. You just forgot about it. Item 3. The trash compactor. If you wanted to know whether a family was doing well in the 1970s, you didn't look at the car in the driveway, you looked at the kitchen, and if that kitchen had a trash compactor built in next to the dishwasher, you were looking at a family that had arrived. The trash compactor was exactly what it sounds like. A machine roughly the size of a dishwasher, built into your kitchen cabinetry, whose entire job was to crush your garbage into a dense, compact brick. You'd load it up all week, cans, boxes, food waste, all of it together, and then you'd press the button and listen to it groan and compress everything down to about a quarter of its original size. The sales pitch was logical: less trips to the garbage can outside, smaller bags, more efficient, modern. What the sales pitch left out was everything else: the smell was extraordinary. You were compressing rotting food, metal, cardboard, and glass into a sealed unit that sat in your kitchen for a week. The bags were custom-sized and expensive, and when recycling culture started taking hold in the late 1980s, the idea that you should be separating your waste, not crushing it all together into one toxic brick, the trash compactor became not just impractical but philosophically wrong. By 1995, they had essentially disappeared from new home builds entirely. But here's the detail that gets people. There are homes across America right now with the original 1970s trash compactor still sitting in the kitchen cabinet. Disconnected, used as a drawer, the owners have no idea what it actually is. Item 4, the console television. Today, a television is something you hang on a wall. It's flat, it's thin, it's essentially invisible when it's off. The goal of modern TV design is for it to disappear into the room. In the 1970s, the goal was the exact opposite. The console TV was furniture, serious, deliberate, expensive furniture. It was a wooden cabinet, walnut veneer, sometimes real oak, that stood about 4 feet tall and 3 feet wide and sat on 4 legs in the corner of your living room like a piece of royalty. The screen was recessed inside the cabinet behind a smoked plastic panel. Some models had wooden doors that folded shut over the screen when the TV was off, so the room looked like it had an elegant sideboard instead of a television. Families did not just buy a console TV, they chose one the way you'd choose a dining table. It was a decade-long investment. You sat around it, you organized the furniture toward it. It was the center of the room in a way that no flat screen mounted above a fireplace has ever quite replicated. RCA, Zenith, and Magnavox all made them. The better models had genuine wood cabinetry handmade by actual furniture craftsmen in the American Midwest. There were console TVs that outlasted the marriages of the people who bought them. What killed them was straightforwardly the Japanese electronics industry. When Sony and Panasonic started shipping lightweight portable televisions that cost a fraction of the price, the console suddenly looked like what it was. An enormously heavy box that required 2 men to move and cost as much as a used car. The last console televisions were sold in the mid-1980s. Within 5 years of that, they were all at the curb. Your grandfather probably stood over his for a long time before he let it go. Item 5, the rotary phone. There was a sound in every 1970s American home that doesn't exist anymore. A mechanical clicking, slow and deliberate, as you dragged a finger around a dial and let it spin back. Then you did it 6 more times. That was how you made a phone call. The rotary phone wasn't just a communication device, it was an object with weight and permanence. It sat on a specific table, in a specific spot, with a curly cord that never quite reached as far as you needed it to. In most homes there was 1, maybe 2. The whole family shared it. If you wanted privacy, you stretched the cord around the corner into the hallway and hoped nobody picked up the other extension. What people forget is how physically slow it made communication. If someone's number had a lot of 8s and 9s in it, dialing took a genuine 10 seconds. You could not rush it. The phone forced patience in a way nothing in modern life does anymore. AT&T quietly kept rotary service active in parts of rural America until 2022. Not as a novelty, as a legitimate active service. The last rotary phone customers were real people who simply never needed anything else. Item 6, the hi-fi stereo console. Same logic as the console TV. Same era, same cause of death. The hi-fi stereo console was a long, low wooden cabinet, teak, walnut, sometimes painted, that ran along an entire wall of the living room. Inside it contained everything: a turntable for records, an AM/FM tuner, an 8-track player, 2 large speakers built directly into the ends of the cabinet. All of it in one piece of furniture that you bought once and expected to own forever. You did not put an album on the hi-fi and then leave the room. You sat near it. Listening was an activity, not a background function. The whole piece of furniture vibrated slightly when the bass hit right, and that was considered a feature. What killed it was the same thing that killed the console TV. Components got cheap, Suddenly you could buy a separate turntable, a separate receiver, separate speakers, mix and match, upgrade one piece at a time. The all-in-one console started to look like a compromise rather than a luxury. By 1982 they were gone from store floors. The cabinets stuck around as liquor cabinets and storage units in dens across America for another 20 years. Item 7. The milk door. This one stops people completely when they first hear about it because most people have walked past one 100 times without knowing what it was. Built into the exterior wall of millions of American homes, particularly those built between the 1930s and late 1960s, was a small insulated door roughly the size of a shoebox. It sat at about waist height, usually on the side of the house near the kitchen. It opened from the outside and from the inside independently. The milkman arrived before dawn, opened the exterior door, placed the glass bottles inside, and closed it. You came downstairs in the morning, opened the interior door from your kitchen, and retrieved the milk without ever going outside or interacting with another human being. It was a perfect, elegant, single-purpose piece of architecture, insulated to keep the bottles cool, sized exactly for 2 quarts and nothing else. Home milk delivery collapsed in the 1970s when supermarkets got big enough and cheap enough to make it redundant. The doors stayed in the walls because removing them meant masonry work nobody wanted to pay for. They got painted over, insulated from the inside, occasionally used to store keys or mail. If you live in a home built before 1970, go look at your exterior walls. There's a reasonable chance you have one and never noticed it. Item 8. The electric knife. Every 1970s. Thanksgiving had a sound, not the parade on television, not the football game. The electric knife. 2 serrated blades vibrating against each other at high speed. You pressed a trigger, the buzzing started, and you dragged it through a turkey like you were operating a small piece of industrial equipment at the dinner table. Every major brand made one. Sunbeam, Hamilton Beach, Black & Decker. Husbands received them for Christmas with genuine excitement. The problems revealed themselves slowly. The blades were nearly impossible to clean. Precision cuts were difficult. You wanted thin, clean slices and instead got something that looked like the turkey had an argument with a lawnmower. And the injuries were real. The same blade that struggled with meat had no trouble at all with fingers. By the late 1980s, they had moved from the kitchen drawer to the garage sale table. Today you find them in thrift stores in their original boxes, unopened, given as gifts and never used. Item 9. The vacuum tube console radio. In the early 1970s, millions of American homes were still running radios built in the 1940s, not as antiques, as the actual working radio they used every single day. The vacuum tube console radio took 45 seconds to turn on. You'd flip the switch, wait, and gradually the sound rose out of the speaker as the glass tubes inside heated up and glowed orange. AM only, 1 large dial. Families that bought these in 1948 were still using them in 1972 because they worked perfectly. Vacuum tubes last essentially forever if nothing goes wrong mechanically. What ended them was not failure, it was price. The weak transistor radios hit $5 at Woolworths. The tube sets went to the curb across America almost simultaneously. Not because they broke, because something smaller and cheaper existed. The ones that survived are worth real money today. They still work. They still sound warm in a way modern audio cannot quite replicate. Item 10. The home incinerator, built into the basements and backyards of American homes well into the early 1970s, was a small brick furnace whose only job was to burn your household trash, not outside in a barrel, though that happened too, but a dedicated built-in appliance considered a standard feature of a well-equipped home. You collected paper, food scraps, and cardboard through the week, fed it into the incinerator, lit it, and burned it. No bags, no collection day, no trash sitting in the heat waiting for pickup. The Clean Air Act of 1970 ended it faster than almost any other domestic practice in American history. Cities banned them almost immediately. Within 3 years, the backyard incinerator went from standard feature to illegal appliance. Most people alive today have never lived without weekly trash pickup. In 1969, a significant portion of Americans were still burning their own garbage at home and thought nothing of it.